There is a tale, and you may have heard it before, about a man who, walking with his grandson one day, tells his grandson that there is an internal battle going on in his soul. He says, "In my soul there are two wolves raging war against each other. One is evil. He is greed, envy, hate, lies, ego, revenge, malice, selfishness, jealousy. The other wolf is good. He is joy, friendship, love, kindness, humility, compassion, generosity, forgiveness, and faith. So which one will win?" the grandson asks. And the grandfather says, "The one that I feed." So this is what I would like us to think about this morning. What we choose to feed and why some people choose to feed the evil wolf. There are some religious ideologies that promote the notion that religion is about separating people and labeling some groups of people as not having worth and dignity because they do not fit into a tightly defined circle about what is right. It is from these kinds of teachings that people develop a worldview about who should be valued and who should not be valued or cared about. But for we Unitarian Universalists, religion is ultimately about bringing people together, not dividing them. It's about learning to see the humanity of all, even though there are differences. Our role, as we see it, is to use our power to create a world where the inherent worth and dignity of all people are celebrated within the bounds of love and justice. It is the message that we preach and teach. We say it in our affirmations, such as James Blake's "Love is the spirit of this church," found in the back of the gray hymn book. His covenantal statement. Many churches use it every Sunday as their covenantal statement. We say it with our principles, in which we affirm and promote the idea that all people are worthy of love, that there is enough good and essential aspects of life to go around and should be available for all, and that we are all in this together as one humanity, one creation that is interdependent. And we not only say this, we act upon it. We've acted upon it in many ways at institutional level over the years. The most recent incarnation of our theology about humanity's equality is in our Side with Love program, formerly called Standing on the Side of Love. Though through this program, we Unitarian Universalists are able to amplify the voices of the oppressed by online media initiatives, participating in as a partner in social justice events, lobbying government officials on immigration, racial justice, equality for LGBTQ people, and much more. Side With is committed to justice making that recognizes and promotes our many identities, because race, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, class, degree of physical ability, and language and citizenship can, unfortunately, trigger anger and hatred in some people. But working to support and show love to people who are different than us and live a different life than we live, and whose perspectives we may not completely understand is really hard spiritual work. No denying. It is hard because we have to overcome our own biases and break through our psychological orientation towards preferring that which is similar to us. We all have that psychology. We all have that orientation. But in our world today, this spiritual work is needed. It is so needed that we work together to feed the good wolf and get others to feed their good wolf. Because there are many people who, for a variety of reasons, choose to feed the evil wolf. And there seems to be a lot of people who do that. According to a recent study of data from the Southern Poverty Law Center, there are at least 917 organized hate groups in the United States. And there are many thousands of people who are not part of hate groups who just hate people who are not like them. We read about it all the time. The woman who calls the police on a black family picnicking in a neighborhood park. Episodes of churches and synagogues being defaced or burned. Restaurant workers of color or of other ethnicities insulted or even attacked. People openly using derogatory and insulting terms about or directly to people of color and LGBTQ individuals. Gay men and lesbians attacked on the street, and transgender individuals, mostly women, murdered. The annual FBI report shows that there were 7,120 hate crimes in 2018, a 16-year high. So why do people hate? Why do people choose to feed the evil wolf? Well, the reasons are complex, but there are some characteristics that surface time and time again with people who hate others as a class or as a group. Haters lack self-compassion. Now, self-compassion means that we accept the whole self. Those who attack others are often doing so to defend their ego against their perceived faults. Haters have an emotional void to fill. Being involved in a hate group or even knowing there are other people with the same perspective fills that void, because it gives a person a sense of connection and camaraderie. As twisted as that is, it gives them a sense of connection and camaraderie that they probably do not otherwise have with family or friends. Haters fear being or becoming powerless. Their acts of hate are attempts to build themselves up from feelings of helplessness and powerlessness as a result of their level of education, their type of employment or lack of employment, or disability. Haters just dislike things that are different from them. They often grew up with very narrow experiences or perspectives and feel threatened by perceived outsiders or outside types of events. Haters often have family history that cause them to see the world in a negative light or with prejudice against particular people. They have been taught to hate others. I have a friend who uses the N-word fairly regularly. Very distressing. As much as I've told that person that this is really distressing me and I don't like being around them when they do that, their response is, well, I grew up in a neighborhood that did that all the time and my family does it all the time. That's the only thing I know. No, it isn't. But obviously, you don't want to change. We have stopped seeing each other. And there is cultural competition. and societal competition that contributes to the development of a hater perspective. We are a culture of competition that often translates into living with a pie mentality, that there is only a finite amount of resources out there, only so much pie, and that you have to push out or push down or eliminate anyone that you perceive as competing, or worse yet, getting a bigger piece of pie. There always has been haters, and there always will be haters. But the current situation in our country is really a call, or should be for us a call for we people of faith who believe in promoting and affirming justice and love for all people, regardless of race, gender, physical and mental ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, and ethnicity. Yes, hate, bias, and hate-generated actions are a complex and a big issue, but they are not something that is so big that we cannot address it. We can face it both individually and collectively. Anti-hate work, though, really begins with ourselves. If we wish to be honest, to be genuine in our work, our justice work, we must first look into our hearts and reflect on when we have judged and condemned the other who is different. This is hard. This is very hard, because I know that I don't like seeing things in my life mirror that shows me in a bad light. And I assume most people are like that. But as Aleksander Solzhenitzyn once wrote, the line between good and evil runs through every human heart. So we need to wrestle with our learned impulses and our biases and our judgments, and then work to overcome them if we want to be on the good side of that line. So then what can we do? Well, there are several actions that I think that we can take as individuals or as a church community. We can individually and as a church community put on our courage hat and call out people who use hateful and inappropriate slurs towards others when we experience that. That not only protects the individual that is being attacked, but shows the world that we support the people being attacked and are not sitting by silently and living with the attackers. We can demand our schools bring in programs such as No Place for Hate or Partners Against Hate if our schools are not offering them, or if they are offering them, we need to publicly support them, especially if there is an effort to reduce their time in the curriculum. We can continue to let people affected by hate crimes know that they have an ally with Channing Memorial Church by letting the world know regularly and widely about our programs like Born This Way Prom and our Transgender Day of Remembrance, and an upcoming program that we're going to be having on history of LGBTQ history in Rhode Island that the TLC and Interweave are going to be putting on. We can support efforts to strengthen anti-hate speech laws, and we can challenge what I think, Bill Zelazny's opinion, what I think is the ridiculous notion that people who work in public service or the medical industry should be allowed to deny service because of their personal belief. And we can learn about and engage with Side with Love initiatives that are going on in our state and our region, so that we can publicly show our outrage against injustice and hate. Wear the yellow t-shirts at the events. Now, we'll all have actually an opportunity to participate in a Justice Witness event next June when our General Assembly is held in Providence. And I hope we all go up there for that event. We Unitarian Universalists are people to do this. We are realistic enough to know that hate, just like love, angry words just like kind words, intolerance just like acceptance, and enmity just like fellowship are part and parcel of the world. And we are idealistic enough to believe the observation expressed by Margaret Mead that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that is the only thing that ever has. We must proclaim loudly the truth that every time hateful, racist, homophobic, prejudiced speech is uttered, every time a crime is committed that intimidates a whole group of people, the universe shudders, because the universe stands with the hated, not the haters. And so must we. So be it.